It's time for New Sports. Victor Allen's own unique insight into the world of sports. Hot, sexy. Brought to you by the one the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Here's Vic.
What's up, people? I'm going to start this off right away. I'm not going to have any extra additives and comments. We're going to take you right into a weekend of... You see what happens? Say, go with the women. Look at this pic, and you guys know where I'm going. Was this the weekend warrior clash of the BCS championship game? Did you feel the impact they hits, the defensive prowess of Alabama-LSU? Did it make you stop and slap your girlfriend, or did she slap you? Which one did it happen?
On her butt, in a playful way, while saying, "Go girl, you my bitch."
Okay, let's just do this. This is the question of the day.
It didn't work.
See, I'm not going there.
You gotta wait.
Welcome to New
You're the
Sports.
one who asked me.
New Sports. Here's the questions that's going over for New Sports. I'm not going to let him get
Big
it
watch
in.
you slapping your girlfriend.
I'm not trying to say that.
You just said slap your girlfriend.
I just said, what did you do?
That's why I'm alone.
That's what I
With
just said.
sports.
What did you do? All right, you guys, look, they called it the game of the century. I think it was terribly overhyped. One of the best examples of what they call competitive defense by the two best defensive teams. Got that. But let me tell you why I think there's going to be a question. Do you want to see these two teams have a rematch? And before we go there, Mario, did you watch any of the game?
Yes, I did. It's hard not to.
All right.
You know, I mean, they was very much hyped.
Yes.
I mean, talk about the pre-roll.
Super hyped.
Wow, a lot of pre-roll that really drew up all kind of comparisons. I was like, well, damn, I guess I must watch LSU and Alabama Saturday.
Right.
So, no, it was a lot of hype.
It was a lot of hype. Here's the question. The defense was just unquestionable. I mean, when you looked at them, you said, wow, how can anyone even try to get any offense on this team? Well, I'll answer the question with that. Maybe the quarterback play was absolutely below average. So it made the defense look even better. No question that these teams are the clear best two teams if you look at it that way. But I guarantee you, there may not be another team that may stop them, but there will be other teams to score on them. Oregon, even in its loss to LSU, scored points, and they're probably around 7th or 8th in the BCS. So there are other teams, and I will pick other teams I think will be better situated for that. But right now, Mario, let's just say this. We know that they're clearly their defensive team. Do you think these two teams should have a BCS championship rematch?
If that's the way it turns out.
Meaning if they stay on course.
And let me tell you something. Isn't it amazing how often in the rematch it's a different story?
Yes.
That happens a lot, college and pro. It's amazing how often it's a different story for whatever reasons. And that even happened with another big game that's just going to be coming up, right?
Right.
About, with Pittsburgh and them, right?
Right.
So I think if the numbers line up, that they should be again in the championship.
Right.
And you know what, Vic? I would watch it.
I would say here's the thing.
Watch it.
Here's the thing I don't want to see. I don't want to see one BCS championship game that scores no touchdowns.
Oh, well.
Okay, field goal.
I don't think any of us want to see that.
Right. That's what happened in this game. It was field goal scenarios.
I know.
And the quarterback play was awful.
But to me, I tell you the truth, that doesn't make me think that a rematch would be like that. It really doesn't. Because there's too many other examples. I never think the rematch is going to be like the same game. I just usually don't.
Yeah.
And it usually isn't.
Yes. No, I'm not trying to say that the game would not be a wonderful clash.
Good game.
I just say that I'm going to look at choices where I want to see some scoring. And I think there's some teams out there that can score their butt off. They may not stop LSU and stop Alabama, but it reminds me of the Green Bay Packers. They have the worst defense in the league, but they make it entertaining by scoring constantly. So even when they win, other teams score on them. So who scores last or first, maybe the scenario. I'm looking at Oklahoma State, for example. That's a team that probably won't stop LSU or Alabama. But I truly believe that they will score touchdowns. So I'm looking for a team that can score touchdowns. So with that, I have 4 choices, and we'll see if any of these teams gain favor with you over a rematch of the BCS, I guess you can say, number 1 and 2 teams that now, of course, already showed the win for LSU. So here we go. I have 4 matchups here. Now, we've already included Alabama and LSU already. So that's that number one. Of course, Alabama's been reduced down to third in the BCS rankings. Would you want to see LSU versus Oklahoma State, which is number 2 in the BCS rankings? Or LSU versus Stanford, which is number 4? Or LSU Boise State, which looks like Boise may go undefeated, number 5 BCS rankings? Which team would you want to see to have an entertaining game?
Wow.
The best game, Maury. What do you think?
Wow, that's interesting. Even though, so now I assume you're doing this because, again, you find yourself at odds with the BCS system, Vic.
Well, I can't beat the system.
Okay, I'm just saying, but you find, okay, so if you could have, you know what? I have to say your 4th choice to me is the one I'd actually like to see the most.
Boise?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like watching Boise State. What a wonderful team to watch.
Right.
Man, they come full hell bent for leather offense. I mean, they come out. I just like the way they just bring it. And then number 2 is Stanford because everybody's looking at luck. You know, it's amazing how the NFL guys are coveting him already.
Right.
You know, they're talking about trying to get him on the Miami Dolphins. You know,
so you already see.
These are big now. In Oklahoma State, again, a team that really is doing lately, especially right, doing some things. But you know what? I still like to see Boise.
Is that that's your first choice?
That's my first choice.
Is it a second choice out of this list?
Second choice is Stanford.
Stanford? Why?
Just because I want to see luck, but Boise is just because I think you're talking about 2 of the great offenses.
Right.
And the whole question is whether, you know, I'd like to see Boise against Stanford.
All right, well, now let me just say this. To show you that I think there's always a thing about matchups. I'm not going to eliminate Boise either. I think Boise makes a very unique statement because of the way they play. Well, Boise already proved earlier that they went into the SEC and played Georgia earlier this year and beat them soundly. And Georgia is now like 15th in the BCS ranking, somewhere in that area. So they can play with an SEC team. So the part that I'm still looking at is how does a team handle a scoring machine? I think the best scoring machine is Oklahoma State.
Tackle and, you know.
Hey, I think they can stop. I think the part that I'll sit there and say this. I would love to see a team that says, look, we may not have that much defense, but, boy, we're gonna score on you. And I think an Oklahoma State will do that more so than a Stanford. And I agree with you. I think Boise State would be interesting, but I would like to see Oklahoma State just because they don't have a great defense.
Yeah, but in all fairness now, LSU and Alabama are actually supposed to be scoring teams. They're not. I mean, even though they have strong defenses, their offenses are not inept. I mean,
go
Alabama
look at their ranking.
I know, but I'm just saying, Alabama. That's what they've been doing. They've been underperforming.
Right.
But Alabama, they lost Ingram, right?
Yes.
So they lost, but they still brought back a bunch.
Trent Richardson is a beast.
That's what I'm saying. So in other words, that was my point. In other words, they just been underperforming. These are not teams, LSU or Alabama, whose offenses are expected to perform this. They are expected to score.
Right. Look, in the national rankings, I know rankings can be subjective, but when it comes to it, what they're looking at, so clearly Alabama is like the monster when it comes to defense against scoring as well as against rushing. And LSU overall has a secondary that's already pro and bench players that are pro. Defense all day long. But we always get that team. See, the part that I always say this, when people say they haven't faced a defense like this before, I say you haven't faced an offense like these other teams before.
And in college, we've proven it over and over again.
Right.
That it's very difficult sometimes when you do across conferences.
Totally different.
Especially, it's totally different. I have to admit, you guys, and I know much to the chagrin of my friends in Midwest and back East, I always was shocked how us West Coast teams could come in and kick y'all ass all the time. So you would get tired.
Right.
You was like, they always have some team that's supposed to be Michigan rises up.
Right.
It's supposed to be so super. Then they come out here and lose.
Right. No, and he's right. I mean,
Stanford.
What we're saying is that teams do. Well, I mean, we share our losses and whatever. I mean, it's like UCLA having a number up until this year on Texas. But if you look at Texas history and see how much they play and how well, the hype on them is so large. But then UCLA has their number.
It's just like Penn State, all those schools when they come out here or something. You know, I remember when Miami came out here, they had Ray Lewis.
Right.
At linebacker and lost to UCLA.
Right.
Okay, I'm just saying.
It's schematics.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's the schemes that they play against. But no question, the SEC has the better, and I'm just going to say this. When they say the athletes bigger, stronger, equipped with speed, yes, I have no question. They demonstrate it. I see it. But I think they take a blinding eye to certain situations. I think the SEC has that. But I think, say, if you look at the Big 12, it has a different model. The Pac-12, known for quarterbacks. Everybody has a model. Until you play them, then you can even it out a little bit right now. So I'm looking at Oklahoma State or Boise going up against LSU. That's just my choice.
I mean, you're looking at it, but the BCS does it by that calculated formula, blah, blah.
I know.
Okay.
That's my wish.
All right.
Yeah, it's just my wish. But, we're going to go over
I take Boise against Stanford. Like I said, I still see that. That'd be a good one, dude.
Yeah, it would be good. But you know what? We're in a world where they say these are the mobilization of teams that don't have pro teams that have these massive followers. See, we're spoiled because we got pro teams in the state. Our fans are not as rabid, and when I say that in a good way, it's just the South and those teams. It's like church.
They do. They seem like they're more
like
into it, but then they come out here and then the Surfer Boys beat them.
You know what?
All the California kids. I'm just saying, have a nice day. Then when they get on the football field, somehow, they manage to win. That's all. And people hate that about California.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Arizona too. They still have a kind of a. Yeah. It's a whole different image, yet they tend to bring it.
It is, and rightfully so to some degree, but I think there's some other biases, and we're going to find out about one when we get to Do You Believe?
Okay,
we're going to go over here because the talk has been about the man who's performed admirably named Tebow. His Bronco, Tim Tebow, the real deal, or the Oakland Raiders regressing. Now, Mario?
Neither.
So, wait a minute.
Well,
so,
no,
be
both.
careful.
It is Tim Tebow is the real deal. I mean, I think Tebow is what he is, and that you can still win with him because of the intangibles. And the Oakland Raiders are not regressing.
They're not?
No.
No. They're winning?
No, I just think they are. They're at the end of the year. I think we're going to feel like they made a reasonable move forward. I still think there's things that we're got to get used to with them, but no, I think Tebow still has certain aspects that make him a winner. Now, whether you could do it day in and day out, to me, like I said, it always does have a lot to do with the commitment of the coaching staff.
Right.
Because they act like, okay, no offense. See, this is where I have a funny attitude. You can't win because you can't run this offense. See, this is the whole point with Vic. I always say they've been faddish.
Right.
You can win with a variety of offenses in the NFL.
Right.
If you think you have to run what you call today's offense to win. These are the only. I just think you use good coaching and assess your talent, and then you adjust like any team to that talent. You make all the normal kinds of decisions,
right?
And that he still is a winner person.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying now. So because even in the games they've lost, it wasn't because of the quarterbacking to me.
Right.
It was because of all the other things. So no, I actually embrace Tim Tebow. He reminds me of other people that I admired in the NFL in past who were not as talented.
Right.
There's a long list of them, even at quarterback position too.
Okay.
Who that I actually admired, who still managed to perform. Wide receivers who were too small.
Right.
All those things that linebackers too small, all of that.
Right.
Receivers not fast enough. How many times? So I'm just saying, no, I still go with him. I go with him.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm looking at both the questions here. One, I think he is the real deal. And when I say the real deal, one is there must be something in what you do. If you can go to somebody's home stadium and actually beat them soundly, to me, and do it in the way that they consider your one-dimensional play. Well, one-dimensional play can be pocket passing. Tom Brady proved that he's kind of one-dimensional. He's only good in the pocket. He's not good out of the pocket. He's more effective in the pocket, and that's the traditional sense. Why is Aaron Rodgers packaged much broader? Because out of the pocket, he's just as dangerous. I think Tim is a great player because it's still early, and I think he's the real deal. Now, with that being said, let me tell you about the weak division they're in. Every team, Kansas City, Denver, San Diego, and Oakland, all give up more points than they score. So this whole lousy damn division is bomb.
Right, because two and what are they? All of them have like I don't have the record in front of me.
Oh, I got them. They're all 4-4.
You're about to say
it's 4-4, and Denver is like I think 3-5. So the issue is that defense wins championships. So I truly believe the Oakland Raiders, as they started off at the beginning of the year, they were showing some examples of, hey, this team is rising, giving up more points. And I'm sorry, Carson Palmer does not play defense. So I do think they're regressing. And with Carson Palmer throws 3 interceptions, for whatever reason that may be, I can't explain why he should avoid that because it's early, his first full week, second week. But the defense is consistent. You're supposed to stay with what your model is. Play defense. It looks like they're regressing.
I mean, I think people kind of give him the performance a C plus. He had 3 picks, but he had 3 TDs.
Yes.
The yardage was reasonable. I forgot it was reasonable yardage.
I agree with you, Mark.
So I don't know, so I don't know if they're that's the question. I think it's to be seen. I'm still I'm not an Oakland Raiders fan anymore, but I'm relatively pleased to see where they've come to. On the other hand, I still say Fran Tarkenton.
Who?
Fran Tarkenton. Never an elite QB, but I'm just saying I can name. There was a couple of other ones because there was a number. I was about to go get my list of undersized because before it was a size thing.
Right.
That they would never say. They would say you could never be quarterback. And I was going to get a list of those people who had been successful. See, to me, it's how you define successful.
Right.
He doesn't have to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. He just has to do, end up on a winning team.
Yes.
And there's a number of them, and there's so many ones that were bad, like Bobby Douglas on Chicago who couldn't throw a ball.
Right.
Who could only run. I mean, they had other ones way worse.
Oh, no,
who
I
still
agree.
were celebrated. So,
I agree. No, see, I'm right with you when you say, where Tim Tebow lies. I'm not trying to say that the Denver Broncos will make an impact and win the division, but they're in the weakest division. So you take the balance with it. This is one of the worst divisions, so you take that into consideration. And because of that, I didn't think of the Oakland Raiders that way. So, hey, much props to Tim Tebow, even if you're one-dimensional, even if you're not a traditional pocket passer. I think the idea that you came out and went on somebody else's turf and grounded them out, even with 100 yards rushing while you're being one-dimensional, hey, he produces a win, and a win is a win. But now it's going to lead me to another question, though. Here's the part that becomes interesting. I always say there's the last quarter of the game that makes it the most exciting. Now, I have a list here, and the list is not important for you to know every name, but I wanted to remind you of something. There's a fourth quarter, and you want a certain quarterback.
That's like a list of every damn quarterback, by the way. That's kind of excessive.
No,
everybody,
you don't
take a look at this list, you guys.
Wait a minute. Excuse
no
me.
offense.
Wait a
you
minute.
got every quarterback in the damn NFL.
Look, the part. Look. You regular football fanatics don't need a list. You know the quarterback, so I'm doing it for the people who need it. See, it's a good list.
That's everybody. It is. I was going to say extensive list.
It's right offhand. But the question comes to mind because you don't have to read the list. You can actually pop it off right off the top of your head here. In the fourth quarter, select which quarterbacks you do and don't want in the last quarter of the game. So Mario, all you got to do is go do. Yes, here's the ones I want in my count in the fourth quarter of the game.
Okay.
Which ones?
Aaron Rodgers.
I knew that was coming.
Tom Brady. Do. Michael Vick. Do. Cam Newton. Don't. Tim Tebow. Don't.
Oh.
Joe Flacco. Don't.
Oh.
Eli Manning.
Uh-oh. He just won. Came back.
Do. Alex Smith, don't.
Oh!
Tony Romo, don't. Drew Brees, do. Mark Sanchez, don't.
Oh!
Phillip Rivers, don't.
Oh!
Ben Roethlisberger, do.
Not bad.
In other words, what I'm saying is now you notice some of the ones I put out. Remember, it's not saying that they're bad.
Right. You said fourth quarter.
See, like Cam, I just think he needs time.
Right.
And with Tim, it's a matter of the limitations I have to be stuck with on the offense.
Right.
And give him time. I'm not trying to diss them.
Right.
Joe Flacco, only because there's an inconsistency.
Right.
I paused on Eli because there is, but mostly Eli's come through.
Right.
See, he mostly has come through with time.
Right.
We pause because of the history.
Right.
But he's mostly come through. You got to find Alex Smith.
I know.
I just got to give him more time. He's been doing good, but and he's doing wonderful with Harbaugh. But I'm saying I got to still give you time.
Right.
And Tony, It's not really a diss. I'm just saying right now, your sensitive moment,
Right.
I need to see you continue. There's an inconsistent and there's a question mark, Tony.
Right.
I'm a Tony Romo fan.
Right.
I just feel like there's a question mark. But I love what he just did, by the way.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, though, is very consistent to me.
Yes, I got you.
See, and Mark, same thing like I said about Tony. That inconsistency factor, Mark. Because just every now and then you throw a stupid pass.
Right.
Just stupid, okay?
Right.
Phillip Rivers. Same thing of late. Just only of late.
Of late, right.
Of late. And maybe because of the receivers. I'm not trying to diss Phillip either, but of late, there's an inconsistency factor that is consistent.
But
It's a consistent inconsistency this season.
Years past, he was the man.
He was the man.
So you're
then,
right.
again, because he's come through. And mostly he comes through. You have to give it to him. He's like, again, like Eli.
Right.
They mostly come through. You kind of worried about but they mostly come through because Ben's feature set is not the same to me like an Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Or even a Tom Brady.
Right.
Now, you notice I put Michael Vick with a rather assured group.
I know you did.
This year.
I know you did.
This year it's rather more assured
Right.
because I'm mostly now impressed with his ability to choose when to pass.
He's grown up a little
and when to
bit.
run because I still want him to run when it's necessary.
Yeah.
So that's why Vic.
Okay, no, good choices because there's really no wrong choice. But if I went down the list, here's the argument: the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, who's the best quarterback of the year. Maybe a few weeks ago, people were constantly saying Tom Brady. I said it is done. The hammer's been laid. This man has no weaknesses. His legs, his arms, out of the pocket, motion, running, accuracy. TD to intercepts. I'm sorry. If you want to hang on to the Bostonian team, that's cool.
Even on accuracy, I give him a point. I think
Yeah.
Tom Brady's very accurate, but even on accuracy, I think Aaron Rodgers now has demonstrated,
the supreme.
To have an edge in accuracy over
Right.
Brady.
Yeah.
He appears to be perhaps the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah, to me. Yeah, everybody knew that if you get Tom out of the pocket, he's least effective because everything is timing.
Right.
When you get out of the pocket, now you're doing what they call the progressions. And the progressions is not his strength, but it takes a lot to get him out of the pocket. Now, I agree, Aaron, Tom, Michael Vick. I'm going to say Cam Newton, I am 50-50 on. But if
I won't give any rookie that, dude.
No,
Rick, I just can't give any rookie.
I know what you're doing. I'm just saying.
Last minute.
I'm saying this. This is the part. I said, I wish he had the components around him so much wouldn't have to be put in his lap. He's not getting a pass. I'm just saying 50-50.
And rookie, because there's some. Would you have let Kobe take that shot as a rookie? Remember that famous?
Utah.
Same thing.
Airball.
But I'm just saying there's some famous things on rookie I think is a little much to ask of rookies.
Right, but they are doing it with Tim Tebow. And Tebow's proving you gotta look at it. Tim Tebow, even though it's his first,
so much.
He's not a rookie, but it's his first year and he's showing he's a fourth quarter quarterback, whatever you want to call it. He's a fourth quarter quarterback. That's his numbers are lousy in the first half, first three quarters.
You got a point there, but that's that whatever it takes to get it done thing. And since there's a bunch of cats like that I've liked over the years, they just are. Yeah. And I always like them because they didn't have it. I have to admit, when you persevere through heart and spirit, there's something about that touches me.
Right.
I just give you more credit because you had all the people telling you no. Right. But you never quit.
That's the part. Under adversity, I can look at a Cam and say I'm more positive for him than I'll say this, no knock. Jay Cutler's not on the list, but I'm scared to death of him in the fourth quarter. I can't help it. And he's been in the league.
He would have been on my nose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He would have been on my nose.
Yeah, he was my nose too. So let me just go on down. Tim Tebow, fourth quarter. He's already proven it. Joe Flacco, once in a blue moon, no.
Yes, I said the same thing. No. Could be, though.
No.
Is expected to be.
No.
And you would get a debate on that from people. Right. I'm just saying he hasn't really totally delivered kind of to me yet.
Right. Yeah,
not his fault every time.
No, it's not. No, yesterday was a perfect example of players not being in their position, dropping passes, whatever the case. So I'm not passing. I'm just saying fourth quarter history.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go to Eli Manning. No matter what you say,
he gets it done.
So it's a yes for him in fourth quarter. If I go to Alex Smith, No. I have to say no because it's yet to be in a position. His team is not winning by scoring as much as they are collectively playing all together.
But hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's really good. Under his coach, they're not making mistakes.
No.
So,
No turnover.
so in other words, we just saying, Alex, we need more time from you.
Right.
But we have to acknowledge that your team on an efficiency level,
Right.
offensively and defensively, still offensively, there's been a change.
Yes.
And so we're glad, more power to you.
And let's just say this. The regular season is nothing like the playoffs.
Yeah, you go.
And you get measured by the playoffs in the end of the day. So let me just go to the next one. I'll say Tony Romo, no. Okay.
I know, but I still like him. He did a good job. I was really happy with him this weekend.
Yeah.
For certain things that he did, I
Right.
really was happy with him. For him,
Right.
I still say to me he has it. I like Romo. I just do.
Right. I agree. I'm just going by what the history says.
I know.
All right. Drew Brees, no doubt.
Yeah,
yes.
no doubt.
Yes,
No
fourth
doubt.
quarter.
No
Fourth
doubt.
quarter.
No doubt.
Mark Sanchez, yes. Why am I saying yes? His history for the last 3 years, he produces better in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. So he has a history. So I have to go there. Regular season.
That's where we differed a little bit, only because I'm a little okay. I'm not saying I'm just a little more worried about Mark because he still, to me, occasionally throws. I don't know what it was. Passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
He does. Because
Right.
he has, like the two what he just did.
Right.
He did the other day.
Yeah, hey, let me say this. Why I'm going with him? Nobody made this point.
That wasn't fourth quarter, though.
Well, no, I know that. I agree. Ben Roethlisberger, the last Super Bowl the Super Steelers won, they said his numbers were horrendous, but his intangibles led the team to victory in the Super Bowl. And they looked at it and he says one of the worst performing efficiency levels in a quarterback. Mark has this certain thing that in the fourth quarter gets it done, and it's not by the gaudy numbers. He's one of those. He's like a Tim Tebow when Tim says, "I win this way." Well, Mark wins not pretty. He doesn't win accurately, but he gets it done in the playoffs.
I'm a supporter of his. I think in time, that's the area of challenge he has to face. It's
Right.
the area of consistency.
Right.
Actually, that's what a bunch of them. If Tony, Alex, Flacco, they need to demonstrate consistency over extended seasons.
Right.
And that's what they have really yet to do enough to me.
Right.
Overextended over the seasons, and
Right.
that's what we're hoping to see.
Yeah. And
But I'm a Mark Sanchez in general.
yeah.
I'm a supporter of his. I'm just saying he does sometimes throw a pass that to me I go like, what the hell was that?
And here's the part, and I sit there and say, watch this. Everybody had Buffalo having New York Jets number
I did
yesterday.
too, yes.
And when they came in there, they said, did you ever predict the score was going to be like this? Slammed them. When I say slammed them, and I watched him, I said, he's not pretty, but I tell you what, if you had to take a choice between Joe Flacco and Mark in the playoffs, who would you feel more confident about? I already said the record speaks
Mark.
for itself. That's it.
Hey, but I did sort of indicate that the New York Giants could beat New England. I
Yes.
said that.
Yes.
I did say that.
Yeah, and we all saw this. We said you have a four-man rush, and everybody knows Tom Brady's weakness is that front four. When they get to him, they take him off his mark. Everything becomes fair game, and it's him and Wes Welker. You take Welker out of it, and the timing. Who else do they have?
But you know what?
Nobody
They
else.
still would have been okay had the defense performed better. I didn't expect New York. They have been doing well. They still did. The Patriot defense is not a threat. I think.
No, it's
to
not.
people.
No, it's better. It's not as good because it's going to get ramped up. It's a young team. They're rebuilding, so I'm not going to hurt them too much. But real deal is you deliver. All right, let me go to one more here because I have Ben Roethlisberger, and then I have one more on my list, Mario. It was right before that. Let me see, Phillip Rivers. The only reason why I'm going to say this with Phillip Rivers, and I feel bad saying this, the team that he has is not the team that we once was used to. And I'm just referencing this.
They could have kept Sproles.
Right.
I like Sproles.
Right.
I like Sproles too. They traded everybody.
Right.
Y'all could have kept
Let me just
Sproles.
say-
You got rid of LaDainian. You got rid of Sproles.
Yes. And
now,
Antonio Gates coming off an injury, Vincent Jackson coming off an injury, a lot of injuries, lost the linebackers. At some point, Phillip was holding what they call, we had the most talent, and I delivered as a quarterback. At some time, you're going to have a letdown. You can't go in and year out and go, it wasn't on me. I mean, I basically, pass efficiency, TDs. I was like, people were doing this last year. Could you go wrong with either Breeze or Rivers, and they were going either or. Now this year, I said, you notice his team around him is not the same San Diego team?
I think that's part of the thing. There's not the same cohesiveness, at least on the offense, in terms of timing and things.
It's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly, but I still am a believer in Phillip Rivers. I just think, like you said, Vic, I think I'm not going to throw this one on him. I really think it's the team.
I think it's the team, too.
I think
I'm going to, it's like you sitting up here going like year after year. I've been in 10 years constantly producing as a quarterback. All the other elements around me changed. The coaching controversy, the players, the linebackers, everything. It's at some point, I just can't hold it all the time. So now if he doesn't hold it, where's the defense? Defense is not as strong. Running back is not as strong. Defensive secondary is not as strong. Your offensive tight ends are, I'm limping. And let me just say this. You guys watch when people are not in condition. Do you now see more wobbly legs when people are getting hit on these games? You're seeing concussion factors coming in. So I'm watching this and saying, I'm giving him a pass, man. I'm going, dude, you've earned it from me. So I'm going to say yes for our boy over there, Phillip Rivers. Just to say, fourth quarter, I do want him.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go over to Do You Believe? Boy, I want you guys to remember that. That's a partnership that says, let me just tell you the way it is. Do you believe this? That's a caddy.
That's like Kobe and Shaq.
That's a caddy moment right there. That's Steve Williams now. Take a look. Look at that face of Tiger. That's my friend. That's my friend. That's my friend. Mar, you feel the tears?
Yeah, I do. I feel the pain.
You feel the pain. Mm-hmm. Well, let's just find out if there's real pain or is this hype in broadcast journalism. Former caddy, do you believe former caddy for Tiger Woods, Steve Williams, isn't really racist when he said at a caddy awards dinner, it was my aim to shove it right up that black arse.
I don't know if that's a racist statement in and of itself.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I kind of said,
Well,
other people might have said black ass. I mean, we might have.
Is it better just to say shove it up his ass? Well, what's
I guess whether it's the blackness of his ass. Whether or not you refer to the color. What if you had to say up his soft ass? Then everybody with a soft ass would be insulted.
A little bit better.
And all the tight, hard ass.
About it,
all the hard ass
I don't
people.
know.
So then you could get into all kinds of how you want to be descriptive of the ass. So I'm myself. So I think it's all right. I didn't have that one. You know what? I like to pick my racism battles.
Right.
And I wouldn't pick this one.
Okay, good.
That's all. I'm just saying,
trying.
there's other racism
I just
battles.
Want to see if you felt that.
I know.
Is Steve being? Is that a moment?
Because they might say, "Bring me that black."
Right.
They say, "Sometimes you want bring me some of that black ass."
What? Let me ask you this.
You know they liking it.
Yeah. Let me say this. Please excuse me, folks, for your sensitivity on this. Imagine that Mario has a partner. He's not black, but Mario sits up there and he's playing football, and guy comes over and says, "Dude, man, your black ass is good." How would you feel, Mario?
You'd be all right with it.
See this? See? So it's the context, right?
Because the black people call each other that all the time in the same way. You know what? That's why statements have to be sort of within your group, right?
Right.
Because everybody already knows what the people are.
Right.
You know what in other words? You know what I'm saying? In other words, sometimes you get mad at people, but they married to somebody black.
Right.
So sometimes you get to join a little club to me after a while.
Right.
Like you married somebody, you white, but you married somebody black.
Right.
And their family is from the South.
Right.
Different folks from the ghetto. Now, at what point are you allowed to see some black slang?
You know.
Okay, I'm just saying. You've married a black person, have children that are mixed that you're paying for school.
Hey.
Then at some point you should get to some privileges.
And
like you might get to say to your wife, "Nigga, please." I'm sorry, I would go,
right,
Dan.
Right.
That's okay with me, Dan.
So, Mario, I like what you're saying. There are conditions where even if they point out your ethnicity, your color, that it put in the right context, you kind of like it, don't you?
That's right.
So, all right, good. Look, let's
go, black man.
Let's go. All right, we are for you. I think, Steve, you go with your commentary. You just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll just keep reporting.
That's
all
right.
Here we go. All right. Do you believe? We're going to the next one. Hands down, Green Bay Packer Aaron Rodgers is the best NFL quarterback.
Yes.
That's an easy no-brainer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I would say who's in second place, but I don't think it's important. Notice I said important. Okay.
That's right.
So it is Aaron Rodgers, right?
It is Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, we're going to move on. That's the easy one. Now, the one I'm going to follow up with tomorrow's show is ending off this sports segment show because I think it's a lot of controversy here. Do you believe, due to late game NCAA football broadcasts in the West, there's a poll ranking bias favoring the Eastern and Southern region voters?
I understand the question.
Oh, it's very simple. They made a point about this, saying the people who vote on the teams from the West, because the games are broadcasted so late, don't even watch them. So they have to vote off of other conditions because the games are so late. So how can you rank teams if you're not able to really watch them? And they admit it. They said the games are so late, I don't even get to watch them. But I saw a game 4 weeks ago. That's a bias. That's what they said. So I believe it's a strong bias if you can't see games in your ranking, though. It's like watching a movie. I heard somebody.
But maybe your bias is to vote a yes for them. I mean, I agree, but except that what if your bias is to go instead of you're assuming that the bias would be to vote no?
I would say
and I don't know that it is. It might be a bias to vote yes.
I would say this. The favorite that we get here in the West is that when games are, say, at 9 o'clock here in the morning, that they're 12 o'clock over in the South, Midwest, or Eastern regions.
We have games that are 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, I watch them regularly.
I mean, they're on the West Coast.
9 a.m.
You're
college
getting
games.
to the. When you say that, I mean, but it's in the East Coast.
East Coast is at 12.
But the game
9.
you're watching, they're not having people in the stadium in the chairs by 9 a.m.
No. 9 a.m. our time, 12 o'clock their time.
Because you know what, let me just tell you guys, I remember even in college, for me, Vic, do you know how hard it is to get to a college game that starts
12.
at 12 or 1?
Yes.
In the snow? I mean, I did that, you guys.
They're rabid
You
fans.
have to get up and get dressed, get hooded all up and get...
Think about this, Mario. Pac-10 games that start. There are games out here that actually start at 7. Do you know what time that is on the East Coast? 10.
That's what I'm wondering, you guys. I can't imagine people being
watching
or picking. Even though I did play intramural games that started at 10,
right,
in the East Coast, and you were freezing your ass off. That's terrible.
The conditions that you get to watch the games here from the teams over there is morning.
But let me ask you,
wait a minute. You're getting up. It's a beginning of a day. You got the games on. Now you're going later at night, and you have a lot of other options to do the stuff. And people go to bed early at a game that you're trying to watch starting at 10 p.m. at night.
Well, so it favors the West Coast.
It favors the West Coast, where the predominant of the population voting and the teams are on the East. They're voting.
So it helps the West Coast people.
How?
So you're saying it does or it doesn't?
No, I'm saying because they are not watching the games. Because complaints are from them that they come on too late.
It hurts the West Coast.
Yes,
What are you saying?
It hurts the West Coast. It's a bias.
All right.
See, he's from Jacksonville.
They're still doing number one. I mean, I don't care.
I know it.
Only because the West Coast still has the teams and shit. What do they care? I mean, they can, even with the bias. You know, let's face it. You know, look at what's hot right now: Oregon, Stanford, USC. Even with the bias, 3 everybody wants to watch. I'm just saying, who do you want to watch?
Dude,
Oregon, Stanford, USC. You don't want to watch UCLA too much.
You see that making me laugh. He got 3 teams.
I said West Coast.
Right. So I'm just saying, the part that they're saying is...
That's enough for one state. How many in one state?
Well, yeah.
How many? What
about Montana? You know,
some states have more. I wonder, New York State has more, maybe.
Yeah, it's a
but
lot
how
of
many
states.
How many teams you want per state?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of good, Vic,
right.
to me. SC's always a national interest team.
I agree. The part they're saying is, I agree with you that the teams within the state configuration is fine. Right. The problem is that the coaches would tell you, they say they vote under conditions that it's like voting for teams they get to see and they compete with and say, I get to watch them and see them. So I say, well, so how do you vote for teams that you don't see?
Thank you for Vic for illustrating this historical inequity. That biases East Coast teams
better than Herman
PMC.
King.
What he's saying, PMC, is that this has been helping you, especially those damn Pittsburgh teams. There's a whole bunch of Pittsburgh teams, PMC.
But see,
that may have been benefit.
Look at what PMC said it. The East Coast people are not watching. What did I tell you?
That's what I'm saying. So it may have been benefiting those Pittsburgh teams.
Until the next time my new sports is over, tomorrow we're going to sit back and say, can we equate equality with East Coast and West Coast? Is there a bias? May not be. I just raised the question. It's all on you,
And
man.
an interesting question it was.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was New Sports, Victor Allen's own unique insight into the world of sports. Hot, sexy, exciting. That's right, and tune in every day for Sports the Victor Allen way.
I can tell you right